I don't believe there's any audio on.
Go time.
Okay, everyone, good morning. We are live.
Where's my camera?
Are we recording?
Yes.
Does that call out?
Yeah, just make sure your microphones are on.
It doesn't say we're recording.
You have the screen up?
Wait, hold on. 1 second. Okay, we are live.
Okay, good morning. This is the New York City Board of Standards and Appeals review session for Tuesday, October 3rd. Please be advised that there's no public testimony accepted at the review session. The first item is appeals calendar, new cases, 1705, 1705A, 3333 Giles Place, Bronx.
Okay, this is a new application, proof of initial filing and hearing notice is not required for extension of time. This is an extension of time for an application to complete construction and obtain a certificate of occupancy for a residential development which expired on November 1st, 2020, and the applicant is also seeking a waiver of board's rule. As most of the board members may recall, that this was part of a common law vesting application that was granted by the board back in 2011. Based on the statement provided by the applicant, and the photos provided, the construction is 100% complete. And the good part of the delay was caused by the COVID issues. And the applicant is stating it would require 2 years to obtain a certificate of occupancy. I don't have any other questions. I'm quite satisfied with the submission. Vice Chair Shibeta.
Thank you, Chair. I support the application. I have no further comments.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Otley Brown.
I'm satisfied with the application and have no more comments.
Thank you. Commissioner Shetta.
Thank you, Chair. I have no further comments.
Thank you. Commissioner Yoon.
Also, nothing further from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next item, 2023-25 BZY, 36 West 66th Street, Manhattan.
Commissioner Otley Brown, do you need?
I'm sorry, I
Just to recuse.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry, Commissioner.
I believe the
General Counsel?
General counsel is
Is
also
also
recused.
I am also recused.
Chase
Yeah.
Fine, the general counsel, is also recused from this matter.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Vice Chair. So we received proof of initial filing and hearing notices. The application was presented to the Community Board's Land Use Committee on September 20th. And a full vote is proposed, I think either today or
Tonight.
tonight. Okay, so we don't have the community board vote, but just wanted to make sure everybody's aware of the timeline. This is an application for statutory vesting pursuant to zoning resolution section 11-332 to complete construction and obtain certificate of occupancy to develop a 39-story mixed-use residential building at the subject site. The development on the site commenced under prior zoning regulation regarding mechanical floor heights, and the applicant specifically seeks to renew the building permits that were lawfully issued and amended prior to the effective date of the text amendment to the zoning resolution, and the effective date is May 29th, 2019. The applicant has provided a very thorough document identifying the clear timeline of all the permits, issuance of the permits, the zoning regulatory changes that came about, and all the, there were several litigations associated with it. And the application, as majority of the board members at this board recall that this was before the board for interpretation and appeals made by City Club and Landmarks West. But with regards to statutory bill vesting, one has to go through the requirements that are stated in the zoning resolution of section 11-332 332. Now, the basic threshold is where the building permits legally issued. As you may recall, at the time of board's deliberation and a decision that was made by the board back in September 17, 2019, the board had recognized that DOB permits were lawfully issued on June 7, 2017, and amended and reissued on April 11, 2019, under a new building application number 12-11-90-200. And this was prior to the effective date of May 29, 2019. The new building permit was last issued on September 29, 2022. This responds to the general provision of zoning resolution section 11-31A and 11-331. And thus, per 11-331, construction could continue, and it did. Per zoning resolution section 11-331, all foundations were completed prior to the effective date of May 29, 2029, May 2019, sorry. And this was established by a DOB letter dated September 27, 2019, and the project was vested. So that takes us to the next elements of the findings, which is, was there substantial construction? Since the project was vested, all work did continue, but based on the legal history provided by the applicant, and as you all know, the project faced legal challenges from 2019 to 2022. And these were challenges regarding the permit that were issued, vesting that were upheld by, and the vesting that were upheld by the courts. Pursuant to zoning resolution section 11-332D, if judicial proceedings affect the validity of the building permits, the 2-year to complete construction and obtain certificate of occupancy is told. The applicant states that the 2-year to complete the construction commenced on 4/28/2022. It's the date when the appellant division affirmed New York State Supreme Court's decision and denied Landmarks West lawsuit and its motion to renew. Based on that, the applicant state the permit will expire on 4/28/2024. During the judicial proceedings, there was a temporary work stoppage from October 19 to April 2022. So factoring in the tolling period and work stoppage, at no time the site was abandoned. During the stoppage, the site was maintained as stated by the applicant. Tower cranes were dismantled and at DOB's request during this period. Construction commenced in April 2022, that is. Tower cranes were erected and superstructure construction commenced in May. So, and we have evidence of that. Construction photos of the exterior and interior have been provided. So has the applicant has provided a very helpful, I would say, diagram of the plans, and especially the elevation indicating how much of the work has been completed, what portion of the building elements have been already been committed to in terms of financing and deliverables, and a superintendent's daily log has been provided indicating that the superstructure is now up to 19th floor. Utilities, fire alarm, sprinkler, HVAC, roughed-in are all in place through 14th floor. Glass curtain wall and that have been fabricated specifically for this project is up till 12th floor, and the curtain walls have been installed up to 13th floor. So the second element of the findings of section 11-332 is substantial expenditure. And the substantial expenditure is the expenses paid, committed to, and the applicant has submitted an affidavit from the project executive and vice president of Lend Lease Construction LMB Inc., who is responsible for managing the construction, the schedules, and reviewing and approving construction costs and requisites of payment to justify the expenses incurred and committed to as of March 2023. And based on that, over 30% has already been committed to and or expended. Now, as you know, that there isn't any fixed number or percentage to quantify substantial expenditure or construction. There are case laws regarding this, and based on both precedents, I believe the applicant has met the substantial expenditure and construction, and thereby it meets the findings of the statutory vesting. I do want the applicant to clarify the status of the open violations. I looked through the DOB, maybe the DOB website is not up to date. It shows there are 6 open DOB violations related to elevator inspection, and there are also 5 open ECB construction related violation. So I would like the applicant to clarify those. And I also want to say that at no point this project was abandoned, as the applicant during when the construction has temporarily stalled, the applicant still continued to maintain the site and ensure that it was meeting all the directives from DOB. And okay, Vice Chair Shiveta.
Thank you, Chair. That was very detailed. I agree with your statement. I do find that they have met the findings of 11-332 and I have no further comments.
Thank you. Commissioner Shetta.
Thank you, Chair. I wanna say that I appreciate the very detailed submission of the applicant in this case. I don't have any significant comments. My position on this case is only relevant to the vesting. It's not relevant to my previous vote/opinion on the 2 cases before the board before back in 2020. I just want to correct the record for 2 things. The cases before the board were voted on. One of them was September 17, and that one, the board voted unanimously.
Right.
And then it was a second prong
Where there was a
with
split of,
with the size of the deductions, the mechanical deductions, that was voted on January 28th.
Right. And that was
the
a
board voted 2-2, and then the appeal was denied.
Right.
Just wanted to clarify this. One more thing, the project manager on this project is called land lease, it's not land lease.
oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
That's
Thank
okay.
you.
I used to actually pronounce them as land lease for 3 years until I fixed. Other from that, I do believe that, yes, the construction as it stands right now is substantial. I do believe that they have expended substantial amount of money. Even if we, I'm not sure if we have to address the serious loss, but even if we need to address this component, I do believe that if someone puts foundation for a 4-story building, almost, and right now he's at 50% of the building, keeping the building as it stands right now, it's gonna be significant loss to the applicant. So I'm satisfied with the submission, with the application as it stands. And I just wanted to make these corrections regarding the previous vote of the board on the cases that were before us before. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think I want to be clear, in my statement, I may have truncated the outcome of it, but the applicant's documents very clearly stated, and it does submit the BSA resolutions, which cites all the votes and decision-making process.
They did submit the
Yes.
resolutions, but in the statement of facts, I only saw a reference to the vote in September.
Right.
Not the vote in June.
Oh.
And they said the board voted unanimously to deny the appeal. So
Oh, okay.
that's
Okay.
why I wanted to clarify.
Okay,
Thank you for catching that, Commissioner.
okay, so that can be revised in the statement of fact. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Yoon.
Thank you. I agree with your statement. I have nothing further.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Zoning calendar, continued hearing items, 2021-85 BZ, 2310 Atlantic Avenue, Brooklyn.
Just give me a second. I need to pull out the drawings. So the initial hearing on this application was held in March. The board had asked for clarification regarding continuous use, site conditions, operational plan, fire department violations. FDNY had issued a letter of objection back in April. And according to the letter, a violation was issued in 2018 regarding the spray booth. The applicant has been directed to legalize the spray booth. The submission that has been made by the applicant tries to respond to these comments that were raised. First and foremost, with regards to the proof of continuous use, the applicant has provided State Department's Division of Incorporation from 2001, 2003, 2007. And it's not quite clear what this document does and how it ensures that a business is fully operational and functioning. So it would be helpful if the applicant can clarify that. The applicant also recently, as of yesterday, submitted New York State Vehicle Safety Service. And I mean, it seems it has to be renewed every 6 months. And otherwise you need a new DMV number. And based on the submission, it seems the DMV number has been active since 2006. I have similar questions. Since this is something new that the board is seeing, I would like a little bit of an understanding of how does this ensure that the business has been operational. I'm just thinking, like, if you're a licensed architect or a licensed engineer, you have to take an exam and continue to renew your license, even though you may not be practicing as one. So is it something similar to that, or do you have to show that your business is fully functional and operating for you to qualify? So that's a question I have. Regarding the spray booth, the owner has retained an architect to legalize the spray booth to address the fire department. I would like to know the timeline and the process to cure this violation that has been issued. With regards to the revised plan that has been submitted, according to the revised plan, the existing container office trailer will be replaced with a non-combustible metal container type office or metal framed permanent office. What I would like to know is, why is this change being proposed, and is it to comply with fire department or building code? And why that particular area, the same place where the current container is located, is being proposed? Why couldn't it be somewhere else? And the reason is that well, actually, before even I get to that, what I want to know is the proposed permanent office would increase the floor area. And since it is a pre-61 application, the applicant needs to make sure it meets 11-412, where the proposed enlargement will not exceed 50% of the floor area as of December 15, 1961. So the applicant needs to prove that and establish that. Also, based on the 1940s tax photo, the building did not have that bump out at the front, which is currently used as storage after the revised plan. If this addition was post-61, it needs to be included along with whatever is being proposed to replace the container office space and show that it meets 11-412. The location of replacing the existing container with a permanent office, if permissible, based on 11-412, seems a little odd. I mean, if you need enough of a parking space, and I think having a parking space that is parallel to the sidewalk rather than being perpendicular, seems a little difficult to do the maneuverability, which will almost force you to do a lot of the maneuverability action on the sidewalk. But if it was perpendicular, you just drive in, park perpendicular to the sidewalk, it would be easier to maneuver and locating that office space in front of the storage area, that concrete block storage area. Oh, just one second. Let me just finish this and I will.
No, I just raised my hand. I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
That would make it also easier. So I would like the applicant to clarify. Go ahead, Mr. Costanza.
You're correct. I just wanted to echo what you said, that the analysis just has to show what was the size of the building in December of 1961. And 11-412 is only applicable to the use that was in existence in 1961. I just wanted to clarify that so that the narrative is correct. And if there were any enlargements, you are correct. Subsequent to 1961 that were never reflected by a board approval. Again, the 50% is based on what was in existence of 1961. That's
Thank
it.
you for the clarification. So with regards to the operational plan, which we had asked the applicant to provide, it has been provided. I think another thing that needs to be done is we had expressed concern about the parking on the sidewalk. The applicant needs to put up a sign on the metal wall, the fence, if you want to call it, that saying no parking on the sidewalk will be towed at owner's expense. This is as a warning to anyone who parks, even those who are employed with the operation. And I think the owner should proactively make sure that their employee know that they are not allowed to use the sidewalk for parking. Those are my comments. Vice Chair Shibeta.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with your comments. I have nothing further to add.
Commissioner Otley Brown.
So as for the proof of continuous use, I agree with you that we need more information about the Department of State Division of Corporation statement that they gave us. It's very interesting because you can't even tell what state it is. Usually when you have something from New York State, it says New York State. This just says State Division of Corporations. I'm not entirely sure what reference this is, so they have to give us more of a background as to that. And also tell us if it really means that they must be in operation during that time, or are they just having the license in place and just keeping it going? Same for the DMV safety service registrations from 2006 to present. I would say, being that they haven't had any photos, which to me is the best evidence of showing that something's actively being used, we could probably accept an amalgam of different things that kind of point to the fact that they must be operating. And then we would be able to say, okay, you've shown us all of these different documents that kind of point to the fact that the business must have been operating. Otherwise, why would the owner be paying here and paying there to keep all of their licenses current? I would say if they want to supplement this further, which would be in their best interest, they should just give us the listings from the Ready Book, which shows us what active corporations are actually operating out of each address in New York City. They could also give us redacted business tax forms that show that they have been paying their taxes regularly, their business taxes. So that would be helpful. As to the spray booth, and the fact that they're working with the architect to legalize the spray booth. I would like to know the time frame because I don't want this to be something that gets dragged out and then the spray booth is not under any kind of oversight or regulation, which means that, you know, they could be causing harm to the people in the surrounding area. As for the storage container, providing they could meet the requirements of DR 11-412. I personally would prefer, if and when this is cited, that it be a permanent framed office rather than another storage container situation. And those are the comments that I have.
I agree with you on that. I would also think it would be, I also agree that it should be, if it meets 11-412, that it be a permanent and not be a container. Thank you. Commissioner Shetta.
Thank you, Chair. The only comment I have is related to the spray booth. I would like to know the status. I would like to know whether it's possible for them to move it. Is it gonna cost them significantly if we wanna move it like forward a little bit to put it in the middle of the building? Putting the spray booth all the way in the back makes it closer to adjacent residences. And I'm not sure if there are any openings in the back of the building. But if not, I'm okay with the current location. If yes, I would like to know, like, if there's a post impact associated with relocating the booth in the middle of the building, same side, but in the middle a little bit. The other thing that I noticed that the pictures submitted are not numbered. I'm not sure why. Probably it's more tough to follow pictures when they are not numbered, but if they are numbered and like tied to a plan, it would be much easier. That's all what I have. Thank you.
Yes, it is always helpful to get photos that are keyed with the plan
Yeah.
and numbered. Then we don't have to guess from which angle we're seeing it. Makes the review and goes consistently with the narrative that's being provided also. Yes, thank you. Commissioner Yoon.
Thank you. I also had questions about the spray booth and not just the timeline, but also the specific steps to approval because there are two agencies listed, DEP and DOB, and whether both of those agencies are going to need to approve this. So more of a thorough breakdown of actually what steps it will take in addition to a timeline. I had similar questions about floor area. I won't repeat what you said. I also have gone by the site a couple times, definitely in July. There were cars parked up and down the sidewalk and double parked on the street. I will say that there are many businesses where it seems like that seems to be the typical trend on that block. So it's hard to say specifically who is double parking, but definitely cars were parked in front of the property line, the sidewalk in front of this frontage, basically the entire length of it. So are there ways that we can ensure that beyond a sign, that parking won't happen on the sidewalk? Because it's a particularly obnoxious part of Atlantic Avenue to walk down because there's no sidewalk there at all. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you for doing the site visit and giving us an update. This is not a good sign, given that we had this hearing back in March. And even though we have a statement stating that there isn't any vehicles parked on the sidewalk, in July, one of our commissioners sees it very much happening. Even if it's not your employee who's doing it, your neighbor's business is doing that, it's your responsibility to make sure at least your section of the curb cut, because you're before us, and is meeting with all the all the regulations that the board has put a condition on. And this was one of them. So you need to ensure that even if your neighbors are doing that on your property, do not let them do that. And so I agree with Commissioner Yoon, you need to give us a lot clearer operational plan and action that you will be taking, and and hopefully you are taking but beef it up even more. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Next one, move on.
Yes, please.
2023-08 BZ 68 South First Street, Brooklyn.
Okay. So the initial hearing on this application was held on July 25th. The board had asked the applicant to reduce the bulk and density to which the applicant has revised the proposed home to be more in keeping with its neighborhood context. I have to say, as I was reviewing this, I was going back and forth as to how to review the revised document and I have to say, I want to thank the applicant for listening to us and responding to the comments and providing additional study. The applicant has also revised the DOB objection and has provided the applicable zoning regulation. The scope has been reviewed, revised, and the applicant has done also an analysis of one-family homes that are located in the neighborhood. So using all of that information, I was trying to go back and forth and trying to understand whether this revised analysis would anyway give this particular property an advantage over other similarly sized properties where one-family homes are located. So hear me out. This is how I came to my conclusion. In comparing the sites with one-family home, the takeaway was that even the two smallest lots 29 and 20, within the subject block have a lot depth of 50 foot compared to the subject lot, which is 37 foot. These two lots were able to provide a rear yard and the footprint of the homes based on my very simple measurement tools. It was about as deep as the subject lot depth. While I have struggled to argue for the need for a patio in the mezzanine level and an 18-foot high parlor floor, which is making the building taller than the buildings in the neighborhood, the one-family homes in the study area show that all the homes have backyards and that the proposed footprint is similar to the homes that were approved by the boards on narrow lots. And since the application is seeking an FAR waiver and not a height waiver, any further reduction of mezzanine or the equipment room on the ground floor will not result in significant change in FAR. Also, parking is not required. The applicant is choosing to provide parking. I don't believe the other small lots have parking on sites, on their site, so especially the smaller ones. So the question I was trying to find a resolution to is, can the ground floor be used for living and dining and kitchen with mezzanine above, and it would result in a reduced floor area, but it would only result in a reduced floor area of about 160 square feet. And it would be negligible, and the difference in appearance would not be significant in terms of total floor area or FAR. So I am inclined to say, based on the way I analyzed it, that it meets all the 5 findings. Vice Chair Shibata.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with your statement. I believe that they did do a significant reduction in height from, they did a significant reduction from 3,168 square feet to 2,973 square feet. I think that does bring this project in line. They also did make an alteration to the mezzanine, and I believe that their argument for the support of the mezzanine, as you stated earlier, with regard to every other lot has a backyard in their study area. I feel like this is not a tremendous ask, and I think it does meet the findings, so I'm satisfied with this application.
Thank you. Commissioner Otley Brown.
I agree that they've met the findings. I think that they've reduced their floor area and FAR so that now it falls within their original range of floor area and FAR for single-family homes. And they brought the home down under 3,000 square feet, very close to the average floor area of homes in the R6 district and actually within all of the other districts. And the fact that there are actually 5 homes that are still larger than this shows me that they are now meeting the character finding and also the minimum variance finding. So I have no other questions about this.
Thank you. Commissioner Sheta,
Thank you, Chair. I have no additional comment.
thank you. Commissioner Yoon,
Thank you. I agree with your statement and those of the other commissioners. I have nothing.
Okay, this concludes the public review session for October 3rd, 2023.
okay, thank you. Let's take a 10-minute break. It's 10:35, so we will convene at 10:45. Give enough time for the applicants to put their team together.
Okay, good morning, everyone. We are live. We are streaming. You may proceed.
Good morning. This is the New York City Board of Standards and Appeals public hearing Good morning. This is the New York City Board of Standards and Appeals public hearing for October 3rd, 2023. We'll begin with the appeals calendar, new cases, item number 23, 1705A, 3333 Giles Place, the Bronx.
Will this be Alexia?
Alexia. Should be Alexia.
See, I think I saw Alexia. Yep, I see her. Change her to panelist. Okay. Is there anyone else who will be joining with you?
She's not in yet.
Good morning. Can you
Good
hear me?
morning. Is there anyone else on a team with you?
No, just myself.
Okay, you can proceed. State your name for the record. This is an appeals case and you don't have to be sworn in.
Got it. Thanks, Tony. My name is Alexia Landisman on behalf of the applicant from Sheldon LaBelle PC. We have attended the executive session and we heard the board's comments. It appears that the board was satisfied with the application. And with that, I was hoping we can be put on the decision calendar.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any questions or comments? If not, let's go to the public.
Sorry. The case we are currently discussing is 1705A 3333 Giles Place, the Bronx. Should you wish to discuss, dial 646-558-8656 or our toll-free number, which is 888-475-4499. At the prompt, you enter the webinar ID number 890-9443-1895 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, you will press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute to speak on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already and wish to participate, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your screen that says raise hand. Once you are recognized, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
We're waiting for.
The magic clock.
Take your time. This is the quickest public session I think we've had so far this year.
I don't think it's over just yet.
No, but it's pretty quick.
Okay, seeing no hands raised.
All right, I will then make a motion to close.
Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Vice Chair Shibata,
Aye.
Commissioner Ockley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Shetta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
There is no submission required for board to take a vote. We will call you back and let you know when we will schedule this for decision. I'm inclined to go for end of October decision, but I need to discuss with my fellow colleagues.
Understood. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Next item is 2023-25 BZY, 36 West 66th Street. This is Mr. Schnackenberg.
I think,
Just hold
yes.
for,
I must
Yeah.
Yeah,
recuse
please.
myself.
And our general counsel,
I'm recused.
yes. Okay, I have let Mr. Steckenberg in. Yes, I think he has accepted the
Yeah.
panelist.
Mr. Schnackenberg, is there anyone with you? In your team?
No, not this morning. Thank you very much.
Okay, please state your name for the record and proceed to respond to the board's comments. You don't have to
Uh,
respond in this is an appeals case.
Okay, David Schnackenberg, Free Frank Harris, Shriver and Jacobson for the applicant. We did attend the review session this morning. We appreciate all of the board's comments. Going through the open questions, the chair noted the ECB violations. There were 5 ECB violations, all but one of them were cleared on September 27th. The DOB Biz website is current now and shows one open ECB violation. That violation is for what I've learned is called a concrete box, which is the way the sort of concrete washout from the concrete trucks are handled. The inspection noted that the box was full, the box was waiting to be picked up, and there's a hearing on that ECB violation on October 12th, 2023. There are 6 DOB violations that are open. Those are elevator inspection violations. Those elevators don't exist. The building in which those elevators used to exist doesn't exist. So the applicant is working to sort of get out of DOB software purgatory with respect to.
Mr. Schnackenberg, can you put the speaker mic closer to your mouth? It's coming out a little bit choppy now and then.
So sorry, is this better?
Much better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I apologize. Do you guys want me to repeat everything I said, or?
Repeat it.
Do you need to repeat? I heard everything, but I just wanted for the recording purposes, it's clear. So going forward, let's keep it that way.
Sure, and apologies for that. So again, there's a hearing on the one ECB violation. The applicant's team is working to clear the DOB violations for the non-existent elevator. Commissioner Shetta, we heard your comment and will update our statement of facts to reflect that the resolution was not unanimous on the second BSA vote. I apologize for that. And unless there are no further questions, we would ask to be put on for decision at the board's earliest convenience.
And today is, this evening is the community board's full vote?
Yes, that's correct. The community board will vote this evening. As soon as we have a resolution, I'm sure they'll send it to you as well, but we will also update the board.
Thank you.
Mr. Schnackenberg, do you have a timeline for clearing all the violations? I know you mentioned there's one scheduled hearing, but for the rest of them?
So we expect the ECB violation to be cleared after the October 12th, 2023 hearing. The DOB violations, they're all for the same thing, which is there's an annual inspection report that needs to be filed, and DOB keeps. But again, the building for which that elevator used to exist doesn't exist anymore, right? So it's not clear how to correct DOB software from saying that these DOB violations do not need to be, rather these elevator reports need to be re-uploaded. So I'm not sure when those will be cleared. Again, they're paper violations for elevators that don't exist. We can inspect them even if we wanted to, but we will try to clear them. And I know the applicant's working with DOB to do so, but I don't know what the timeline is for that because there's no hearing.
Thank you.
But none of these violations are related to a safety issue or something like that.
That is correct. None of these are safety violations.
Thank you.
And the ECB hearing, when did you say it is scheduled for?
Scheduled for October 12th, 2023.
October 12th. Okay. And none of these are safety related. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Let's go to the public then.
Okay, the case that we're currently discussing is 2023-25 BZY, 36 West 66th Street, Manhattan. Should you wish to discuss, please dial 646-558-86, 558-8656, or a toll-free number, which is 888-475-4499. At the prompt, you will enter the webinar ID number 890-9443-1895 and the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, you will press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute to be able to speak on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you are recognized, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
So while we are waiting for public to call in, how long will it take for you to make these corrections? And if you can give us a little bit more of a a clarification with regards to the violations and the timelines.
3:32.
We can update, submit a revised statement with the updated violations and the correction, this evening, or maybe tomorrow after the community board hearing.
Okay. All right, so by tomorrow.
Sure.
Let me see if there's anybody. I don't see anybody's hands raised. Anybody who wants to speak, please raise your hand regarding this subject case.
Once again, this is 2023-25 BZY, 36 West 66th Street, Manhattan.
I don't see any Zoom hands being raised.
Time's up. See no hands raised.
Yep, we see no hands, nobody called in, and we did not receive any letters from anybody. I would like to close, but keep the record open for the community board and anybody else who may want to provide any submission.
Okay,
Um,
do you want results of the ECB or not relevant and not?
No, it is
Well,
Mr. Schnackenberg, he did say that he would update the statement of facts, correcting the statement regarding the BSA votes. And also update the violation status, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Schnackenberg? Okay,
Motion to close.
motion to close.
Chair Shonda,
Aye.
Vice Chair Shabeta,
Aye,
Commissioner Otley Brown.
she's recused.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Sorry about that. Commissioner Sheta,
Aye,
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
and of course, the record will stay open for submission.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Are you gonna
Thanks,
go-
everybody. Have a
Thank
good day.
You too.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. I see.
I'm present board.
Okay, the next item, the zoning calendar, continued hearing items, 2021-85 BZ, 2310 Atlantic Avenue, Brooklyn. Elise Fullader. And
Do
I
I
think,
see? Yes, I see her hand raised. I've changed her to panelist.
Is there
Yes.
anyone with you, Elise? Is that Arnold or Monte?
Hi, we should also have a few other people.
Yeah, David.
I
There's-
see Arnold, David,
I don't know.
but they haven't raised their hand, so I don't know if they are.
Arnold and David are with us, yeah.
Okay, so I should change them to panelists. Okay, done that.
Dilmanian.
Mhm.
I think they're in now.
David, can you unmute and turn on your camera? And Arnold, can you unmute?
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay,
Good morning. We're entered as a panelist now.
okay.
Okay, great.
Is that it?
Arnold Montag, architect.
Sorry, Mr. Monte. Ms. Fullader, is that it?
Yeah, these are the two main,
Okay.
these people can do.
Please raise your right hand. Mr. Dimilian. Thank you. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond on lead a board member questions?
I do, thank you.
Yes, I do.
Okay, please state your name for the record and proceed to respond to the board's comments.
Elise Fullader from Eric Palatnik PC. Thank you so much for your comments. We're going to go through them, and I think we might have some questions as we go through. But first is continuous use. David, do you want to explain how the DMV facility and the corporation that you got from New York State, website works? And then we can discuss if they need anything further.
Yes, in regards to the Department of State records, just to clarify, the printout does mention New York State, and it says jurisdiction is in New York, and the location, the property location is listed, and the corporation has been active and in existence since inception. Also, in regards to the DMV records, I verified with the record with the DMV, including the facility number. I was told that the facility number, if they don't register every year, the facility number, if it expires, then they'd have to go and get a whole new facility number with the DMV. And the fact that the facility number has remained the same with the DMV is proof that there's been continuous registration since 2006.
That's not continuous use. Good.
Yeah, I agree with what you said, but I just had a question specifically for that. When I looked at your DMV records, the latest extension actually goes for 2 years, from 2022 to 2024. So
right.
To pay for 2-year increments, then how would they know that you lapsed over 6 months?
Well, the facility number has remained the same since inception, which was in 2006. And I'm told that if it lapses for more than 6 months, they'd have to reapply as a new applicant and get a whole new facility number. And the fact that the facility number has been.
How would they know if you could renew it for 2 years that 6 months passed? How would they?
It gets renewed every 2 years. So, and if it lapses, if it doesn't get registered every 2 years and it lapses for more than 6 months, it would have to be a new application with it, and they would have to grant a new facility number.
So we know that you've kept the registration active. There's no question on that. The question is that sufficient to show continuous use? As you've heard from the board this morning, they want something more than just a registration of your business and that they're showing the facility number, while is indicia that there is some action here. It doesn't rise to the level of what we usually see as evidence for continuous use. So earlier in our review session, Commissioner Otley Brown suggested perhaps showing us a income loss, something part of your tax returns, something that shows that the money's coming in, that there's actually work being done.
Well,
we often use bills as also another type of way to show that, hey, they're using material at the site, the site's being billed monthly by whatever utility service. And this gives us a better idea that there's something actually going on there. I'm sure I don't have to tell you that there are several businesses and people. Look, I know attorneys who haven't practiced in 10 years who still register as attorneys every year. That doesn't mean that they have a viable law practice. That just means that they maintain the registration.
Right. Well, I just, as long as, I just wanted to clarify that this is not my operation and my business. I'm merely the landlord. We own the building since 2007. And we've had this tenant, Carter Automotive, Stephen Carter, since 2007 continuously.
He can provide us something. He can provide us something that is a bit more substantial than just showing that the company, that this business has maintained its registration with the city and state of New York.
And the reason we are asking this question, we're not questioning the integrity of the documents we need to make sure whatever documents, these are very new to us. And we have not seen these documents as a proof of evidence of continuous use. So if we were to allow this, we need to fully understand how that substantiates a continuous use. And as Commissioner Otley Brown and some of the other commissioners have stated, that you probably need to use this with other documents to show how the business has been operational. And we don't want to set this. Should we let this one happen? We don't want this to become a precedent, because it's right now, it's a very weak link. It's not a strong link, but you need to support this link with other documentations to ensure that you have a continuous use.
Madam Chair, General Counsel, Mr. Costanza, have their hands up.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
First, let me hear from Commissioner Otley Brown, Commissioner Sheta, and then General Counsel.
Okay,
So I just wanted to
It was in
say,
that order the hands were raised.
we do have a lot of evidence for the period of time from 2012 to the present in the form of Google Street photos and DEP water bills. However, there were some water bills with minimal usage that suggest that the water was not used at all. So that's what started the questions, but also you needed to prove continuous use since 1994. So from 1994 to 2012, there are no Google Street View photos and there are no utility bills of any kind. So you've had that very large gap of 18 years where you didn't have anything that would show that your business was actively operating. And so while you don't need to pay as much attention to the later years, you really have to narrow in and zero in on those years in particular and give us something that isn't just perpetuating licenses to operate, but not showing us that there's actual.
Right.
And we also understand the difficulty of that, of what that could mean because of the timeline. It's 20 years old. So we understand the difficulty of that. But we're trying to work with you. So please provide us with something that we can rest our hat on.
No, I appreciate it. My understanding was that the period in question was from 2007 to 2012, at least, was, I believe we provided some documentation prior to 2007.
She was saying that the project manager contacted me and said that those were the years that we needed, that we had a big.
Yeah, I think actually I do have to go back to my notes and I think at the last hearing, we had said to go back to 2007 since that site was taken over to prove the continuous use. So you don't have to go as far as 1994, but start from, right?
No, they still need to go back because even though they didn't own the site back then, it still had to have a commercial use. The use ran with the land, not the owner.
Right.
So
we need 1994 to 2012.
So I'm sure there are documents out there in the buildings department or somewhere where if you pull the information from various agencies together, fire department, what have you, you can probably put it may not be a perfect every year documentation, but at least even if it's every other year or something like that, will show that there has been continuity of this operation.
Even historic.
Carbon copy,
the
yeah.
carting company.
Carting company.
Historic aerials will show cars going on and out.
Yeah, historic aerials.
aerials.
Historic aerials would be another one.
It
Commissioner.
could show that there's,
I'm not sure, I'm sorry. You wanna go ahead?
no, I think there.
Yeah, I'm not sure, historic area is just a photo from up top, so I'm not sure if it's gonna
Well,
show.
it's gonna show
Some
cars,
show
cars.
it's gonna show cars
Show
coming in and
cars.
out of the
If you
site.
have some car, like.
If you're
parking
fortunate,
in the
if you're
front,
lucky enough.
Doesn't mean
We're
that.
just suggesting, we're just trying to give you suggestions of that you can use to fill that gap.
I would say I'm not sure if they do business for like insurance companies, they have a spray booth inside. So most of shops like this do business to fix cars for insurance companies. So if you have some transactions with the insurance companies, you could submit that. If you have some repair bills to like well-known customers, like the corporations, company. These documents are in your possession, supposed to be, and if you give us that would be very helpful to you.
Right. There was a mention of a ready book. Can you
It's a city directory of businesses by address with phone numbers. So that would indicate that you're active business because you're listed in the Ready Book with a phone number under a particular address. So they're not foolproof, but if you can compile all of these different things, and you only need one per year. It's not like you need to give us one for January, February, March, April, May for each year. Just find one from each year, and it could be a different one. Ready Book for 1994 and some kind of insurance payout or bill or something for 95. And then maybe, I don't know if you have some kind of fire department registration that you're keeping up because this was an auto body shop.
Right.
Be fired,
Well,
you know, whatever you could grab that shows
Right.
that you were actively operating in each year.
right. Well, being that we own this since 2007 in terms of like insurance documentation, we don't have anything going back to 1994, but we're gonna look at the
We're not,
book and combination of other things just to see what we can provide.
we're not talking about insurance documentation, meaning that you're insuring your business. We're talking about doing business with the insurance, like you fix cars, insurance companies pay. So you could get
Yes.
some
An
bills,
invoice. or
yeah,
something.
invoices to insurance companies that on that day you fixed such car to, let's say, Geico, to travelers, to this and that.
Right.
These kind of documents, if you submit it to us, they're gonna be helpful.
Yeah. Again, being that it's not my operation, it becomes more difficult, but we're gonna see what we can provide.
Any operation related document would be helpful to you, I would say.
Okay.
Let me go to our general counsel.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that our rules require proof of continuous use from the expiration of term through the filing of the application. I don't know where the 2012 date came from. But just echoing the statements of the board, invoices or, there are Google reviews that go back at least 9 years for this business performing work. I know that doesn't get very far, but ideally there would be invoices for work performed at this business that could be provided, or maybe even further, tax filing statements demonstrating income from this business.
So 2012 is the date that came up because that's the date of the very first Google Street View that they provided.
Yes. Yes.
That's why I said they needed 1994 to 2012 because they had 2012 to December
Yes.
2022. So they're good after 2012.
Yes. I just wish Google went back further.
It's been great.
I would just
Didn't
want to,
exist.
I'd want to temper the expectations of the board in that most businesses do not hold records for more than 10 years as like its best practice would be 7. This is going to be a difficult task. I'm very eager for you to come up with what you can come up with because we have an obligation to make sure you meet the findings.
Right, but that's why the Ready Book is the
Yeah,
book.
the
I
Ready
keep
Book is
saying, because
great.
that's a hard copy book printed every year.
Okay. We're gonna see what we can do. Thank you.
Okay.
Carlos still,
Carlos,
Carlos-
oh, go ahead.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, I've shared with you, and I'm happy to share with Ms. Folder, Department of Buildings Technical Policy and Procedure 1488. It's not directly akin to what our exercise is, but it does provide some guidance for Ms. Folder to share with the applicants. I know Ms. Folder has done these types of application and knows that it's kind of evolved over time. So as the board had suggested, photos or other things not listed, but again, just to provide a guidance at the most basic level, I'm happy to share with Ms. Folder to share with her clients.
no problem. Thank you so much, Carl.
Thank you.
Okay. I forgot.
Okay, next issue, I guess. So the next is the timeline and process for the spray booth. So again, Mr. Dalmanian just, I believe, hired an architect and spoke with him. So that isn't Mr. Montag. So David, do you want to confirm that and say when you expect to file, where you expect to file?
Yes, with regard to legalizing the spray booth, we've engaged Mr. Joel Mealy, and to file the appropriate, make the appropriate filings with the DOB. And I was told that the filing, it probably takes about 30 days. And the timeline, although it's difficult, but I'm being told that it's probably about 4 to 6 months for approval.
And who has to approve this? DOB or DEP or fire department?
It's a DOB and FDNY, and I believe there's some. I'm not sure if DEP. There has to be. There's some things that regarding DEP, but I'm not sure if it's an actual filing. But they're gonna need. He did mention the DEP as well, but it's mainly the DOB and the FDNY.
Okay.
In our next submission, when I speak with Joel, sorry, he wasn't hired yet, maybe he can help provide more detail on
Yes.
where we're at and who we file with.
Yes. All right. So regarding the revised plan,
On the spray booth, they didn't, do you have any openings in the back at the location of that spray booth?
Do you know, is there any openings in the back?
I think
Yeah,
it's
like
from,
when-
I think it's from the roof.
I believe it's from the roof. I'm not sure.
Not the venting.
You're talking
I
about,
know this chart particulars up.
Yeah.
In the roof,
right.
but I'm talking about maybe any windows.
Oh, any just windows? Okay.
Roof? Yes, there's actually opening to the roof.
You're
no,
talking
I-
the vent, right?
I'm sorry?
The vent, the.
Yes,
Should that discharges be particulars of that, the venting is at the roof, you say, right?
yes.
I'm talking about any windows on the back.
Yes, there's one.
Are there any windows along the rear lot line?
No.
I'm
it-
just looking at the plan. I don't see any illustration of any windows along the rear lot line, but I just
tried
wanted to.
look at it on the, like, Google.
Yeah, look at the
Sounds
Google.
like there is opening, I'm not sure, I can share my screen and show what I'm talking about. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm not sure. I understand this is the vent here, that,
I believe so, yes.
I'm not sure whether this is an opening or it's an AC. It's not clear to me.
Though it's, as far as I know, it's a solid brick wall.
Okay, does it cost much to relocate it? Put it further, like to the front? To avoid being located in the
Well-
back, close to the residences?
So we're trying to legalize the existing, if it would have to, they'd have to build a brand new one from scratch and then take this one out. So I don't think that's
Okay,
practical.
thank you.
Okay.
Arnold, you can speak if you don't have to raise your hand.
Okay, so what I wanted to say, although I am not the architect of record for this spray booth legalization, but I wanted to make it clear that if they're filing through the building department and the FDNY, there'll be, a slew of policies, procedures, rules and regulations to comply with to make sure they have proper distances from residential windows and heights above roofs and things like that. Just assuming, that it's properly filed and they submitted permits here. There was a spray booth also originally, it's just that it's been replaced. Originally approved, meaning on the old BSA plans.
The old BSA plan had the spray booth closer to Atlantic Avenue, somewhere along the way it got moved towards the rear of the lot line.
Here we go.
Yes, correct, but that doesn't mean that the actual exhaust was distance change. I mean, there could be more of a length of exhaust pipe.
Well,
So only the booth itself.
So if I say, I'm sorry, go ahead,
no,
Commissioner,
I was
Vice
just,
Chair.
I don't want to interrupt. I was just thinking in any event, we're probably not going to vote on this until we have that, the spray booth settled by DOB and put in place. So, I'm not sure.
I agree with you because it was one of the prior board conditions. And we need to make sure the spray booth is resolved and responded to before we can vote on this. And I'm looking at BSA resolutions, and I seem to recall one of the earlier BSA resolution did very specifically require that the location of the vent be, I can't remember which one, I have to look through all of them, but that it be located away from the residential. There was a very clear, specific.
I
Okay.
put that
Yeah.
previously approved plans
Right,
on the screen. This is the location for the previous.
right, right,
spray booth.
right.
It's like I asked, it's in the middle and it's closer to like the commercial next door.
Right.
That's commercial next door,
Yes.
not residential.
No, it is, sorry, no, it is residential, but it's a solid
Oh,
wall.
sorry, yes,
It's a solid wall. And I think there was a very particular
yes, sorry.
section in one of the resolution which did say that,
It's got windows.
oh, it has windows?
If you look at the 1940s tax photo, you can see there are windows.
Oh, there are windows there.
Yeah, but this would be a number for
I
that
see.
spray room.
I'm not going to take too much of the board's time, but I do remember reading through the prior resolutions where it was very particular as to where the vent had to be and how it had to be away of certain dimension and other things from the residential lot lines and so it is therefore very important for this board to ensure that the spray booth location and all related exhaust and everything is in compliance before the board can vote on it.
Yes, that as part of the legalization, all of that is going to be complied.
Yeah, okay, this is from the 1957, which says the exhaust stack above the roof for, oops. Exhaust,
Right, so Mr. Domanian, what they're saying is you'd have to give this little blurb here to your architect, because it's not only meeting building code, you have to meet the board's prior decision about that. They're talking about the height of the exhaust and the distance from the other buildings.
exactly, yeah, that's the specificity level of specificity that was asked, unless there's been change in the way DEP monitors the exhaust from the booth and then you have to comply with whatever the latest requirements are of DEP, FDNY and DOB.
Yeah, they may find it not a.
And therefore, it is important that we wait for all these agencies to review and approve and then incorporate that into our approval and put that as a condition. That's how I'm leaning towards. I'm open to suggestions from the rest of the commissioners, and if any advice our general counsel wants to give on this matter, I welcome that too. Okay. Let's move to the next.
I think the next.
There are questions. Yeah. On the
The
plan.
next.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question, I think there's a lot of questions that revolve around the office space. So Arnold, I don't know if you want to kind of share it or we can share it again and then we can talk about it, or if that would be helpful, or you can just speak.
I could do a quick, fast summary on this one. The office space that was, the trailer that was questioned as office space, I would say is not additional floor area, because building department's interpretation of zoning is if something is roofed over and enclosed partially, that it already counts as floor area. So that space where the cars are and the trailer is floor area. So I don't see it as additional, as if you did an extension onto a building.
Okay, I am a little confused. So you are saying that the area where you have the canopy over is counted towards floor area?
Can you pull up that drawing again? Just so we can.
A2, can anybody pull up the A2 drawing?
Commissioner Sheta, I apologize for asking, but you just had it. Do you want to open it again? I can also do it if you want.
Yeah, it'll just be easier for me to explain. I'm speaking from what's in my brain. I want to make sure you guys see it.
Sure.
Because I can also do it too.
No, the proposed plan, A2.
Oh, the proposed. Okay, sorry. I thought you wanted to see the historical one.
No,
No,
plan.
either one. Yeah.
Okay,
This one is very difficult to read. This is not the latest submission. The latest submission
I-
is
I could do that.
9/15/2023.
That's what he's showing.
Yeah, that's what she's showing, but.
Oh,
What's up? That's
Let me-
what's up, John.
that's what's up?
Yeah, but let me do it in the desktop app.
Okay, I
So it
don't
doesn't have the
those
clouds
dot
on it
dots.
because those dots are really confusing. So this is
Yeah,
A2.
this is the one. Thank you. Go
Right.
ahead.
So see that area up front where it's already roofed over and there's walls on the side, like a U shape, the building, right? That it's the building department considers that as floor area. So if you were to try to enclose something and say it didn't count, they would say, no, you've already, added on to your building.
All right, so does your zoning calculation that you've submitted factors that in? And the second question is, be careful what you say. When was this addition added? And is this post 61? And does it meet the section of 11.4, I forget, 412?
Okay, so the answer is that the old pre-61 drawing shows that roof and section. That roof was always there. As far as the trailer itself, I've added to our drawings that the trailer has to be modified because it's not handicap accessible. And we still need to verify what it's constructed out of. So I'm not stating in any way, shape, or form that I want to keep that trailer specifically, but I'm just making it clear that that does not count as additional zoning.
Because it was always counted in your floor area?
Right, that enclosed area that's roofed over is always been floor area.
So that's not my understanding of floor area unless it is fully enclosed. But I think the question that we're getting to is not whether DOB would count it today as floor area, but if it's been counted as floor area since December 1961.
And you increased it.
Right, since 61 zoning, it would be counted as floor area. So meaning if you have like a little alcove in the front of a building, that's counted as floor area. So if someone says, instead of this alcove little space being open, I'm going to put some glass doors to keep the weather out, it is not an increase in floor area.
I'm a little confused now.
Because porches aren't
Yeah,
considered.
porches
Yeah,
floor
roofs-
area,
yeah.
this is
They
like-
are if they're roofed over, they are considered it.
No.
They have to be
no, they're
enclosed.
not. And I think Ms. Fullader would remind you that because she has brought many applications before us where the architects of those projects have clearly indicated that porches not counted towards floor area. And if you go to the
Well,
zoning
well,
commission
that would-
section of floor area, it is not counted. So I'm a little confused as to
Sure.
how the same information is being
Okay.
presented in two different way.
Oh,
at this
I
point
could clarify.
very- I'm getting uncomfortable about this discussion and I would warn you, be very careful of what you say on the record. I would suggest that you go back and look through the history and look how the zoning has been calculated for this building all throughout all the regulation, all the approvals, where the FAR and the floor area counted this into it from pre-61 up till now. And so far, I do not see that in the documents. And unless I'm reading them incorrectly, please go through them very carefully and indicate how it was counted towards floor area pre-61 and post-61 at DOB and by the board. And how it therefore meets 11.412 requirement. this is very contrary to what actually we hear from the architects. Mr. Mealy would be the one to tell you that because we get a lot of applications from him.
Mr.
Okay, so just to clarify, in residential zones, there are certain permitted encroachments, like an 8-foot front yard encroachment from a front yard setback where it won't count. But that's a different case than U-shaped space.
I think it might be best to reserve your response to writing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would really suggest that.
Although we might look at the 10%, the 50% 4-1-12 rule, and it might work out anyway after we finish this discussion.
Yeah,
So we can look at that.
It
About
may-
5%, we're not at 50%, we're at maybe 5-10% of, additional area.
Mr. Costanza, you had your
The
hands up.
architect of record, he should be.
Yeah, I was just going to make a suggestion for the applicant's team, maybe reorder the case file, and you could look at the past approved plans dating back from prior to 61, post 61. Perhaps that could give some guidance if maybe there was some zoning analyses provided historically. Just trying to offer a point of reference to start from.
And remember, I'm stating that trailer should be changed anyway because it does not meet handicap accessibility. So in no way, shape, or form, like I said, am I going to ask the board to allow them to keep that. But I just wanted to clarify the zoning issue only.
Okay.
Because I think we also need to talk about the permanent structure, not permanent structures. So do you want to just clarify for Mr. Delmenian? Sorry, I know you said it in the comments, like what you're looking for from a trailer? Because you said it should be a permanent structure if you do.
Well, in your notes, you have is will be replaced with a non-combustible metal container type office or metal frame permanent office. And both Commissioner Otley Brown and I are of the opinion that it should be a permanent structure. I mean, especially if you're saying if it is counted towards the floor area from whenever, then there should be no issue for you not to have a permanent structure here.
Well, it's in their notes on their proposal is that it would be permanent.
Permanent.
Yeah, and I was just trying to talk about the metal.
Not a metal storage container.
Right.
That's not what.
Yeah, so not metal.
Right.
I don't think it's the metal that's the problem. It's the
Okay.
whether it's a container, storage container versus a permanent office.
Yeah.
The foundation, is that what you?
Yeah, there would be.
With a foundation.
Yeah, with the
Okay.
foundation and everything. Like,
Knowing that it's next to a residential.
well, this one is basically.
Okay. And then you also talked about changing it because of maneuverability. So that's
Well,
another.
that again goes back to if you meet 11-412,
Yeah,
can you, instead of locating where you have it right now, which I think is making it very difficult for you to maneuver your vehicles, because you have to make a sharp left turn to park on parking spaces 1, 2, and 3. And then you have to keep moving them around to get in and out of the building. What if it was an extension of the existing storage container all the way to the front lot and provided met all the requirements? And that way you have a much better space of laying out your parking area in front of the building and minimize your maneuverability and excess storage on the sidewalk.
Okay.
Should
In
just
terms of-
things.
So as I understand, in terms of the floor area itself, that structure, the trailer is substantially less than 50%. I mean, it looks like.
Even if it is,
5-10%.
we have to look at that. It's our responsibility. And then we have to change the trailer to be a permanent structure that works maneuverability wise.
Yeah. I think a lot of your problem with sidewalk parking is a result of the way there is issue with the way you're parking your cars there for storage and moving them around, and you're using the sidewalk for maneuvering in and out. So try to contain the maneuverability within the site. Because you only seem to have one entry point unless you have a much bigger entry point where vehicles are coming straight in. And that's a different story. I think those are our concerns at this point, and you do have a lot of historical background work that you have to do on this to get commissioner feel comfortable. Carlo, you have your hands up. You want to say
Yeah,
something?
no, just for procedure, obviously, the applicant team is going to assess what's being asked here, but if indeed this turns into a request for an 11-412, I just ask that the application be revised accordingly, and I'm not sure, Ms. Folder, if an amendment had been requested, but you will require that. And the DOB objection would have to be updated to include the increase in floor area and
Okay.
obviously the requisite.
It was a new new BZ reinstatement, so I, just making.
Yes,
So
but
you'd
it
add an
still,
amendment.
it still triggers the actions. It's
Okay.
the
Well, no, I'm just saying
reinstatement.
with DOB, denial, that's what I'm asking.
Yes, I mean, you brought in a DOB denial for the reinstatement. It's just,
Yeah.
it doesn't, if indeed, and again, I'm saying it, I'm not sure yet, but if indeed this is a request pursuant to 11-412 and an increase in the floor area, then it should, just for the record, complete it. But you would have to formally request the amendment here as well.
Okay, good to
And
clarify.
the application would have to be revised accordingly to reflect that now you're potentially seeking an 11-412. I'm available as you figure this out, and I will provide whatever guidance is needed.
And then we would have to pay the filing fee, right, as well,
Correct.
just clear. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And, as Commissioner Yoon, who had gone to the site in July, did notice vehicles parked on the sidewalk. And granted, there are other similar operations in the area that might also be using the sidewalk for parking, maybe using your sidewalk for parking. Be that as it may, it is the responsibility of the operator to ensure that the operator meets all the conditions of the board for its subject site, and which means even if your neighbors are parking the cars there, you need to let your neighbors know not to do that. If your employees are parking the car there, their car or the car that is waiting for repair cannot be on the sidewalk. So I think we need more clarity in terms of how you're ensuring that cars are not parked on the sidewalk. And that is why I'm also pushing for you to change your interior layout of the space, which hopefully can ease up some of the pressure on the sidewalk. So look through your operational plan, discuss it with your operator and see how it can be improved, because otherwise there'll be a perpetual violation of the conditions. And I don't think you want that.
Mr. Dalmanian, do you have any questions or?
No, I think there was a mention of
Sure, 'cause I think I went
parking
through all the
sign, no parking sign.
Yeah, so that's one of the ways we can enhance our operational plans.
Okay. Yeah, we'll speak to the operator again. We'll speak to the neighbors. We'll try to enforce that as much as we can.
I mean, yeah, the majority of the block to your west is residential, and then there's a cluster of some auto-related businesses near yours where the sidewalks tend to get blocked. But it's, Atlantic Avenue is not a safe place to walk in the street. You need to walk on the sidewalk. And there are people on your block that live there and need to use the sidewalk. So it's just incredibly important that you guys provide safe passage right away for people living in the area, regardless of whether there's resi or not. But I mean, even more so because you have neighbors who live there, multifamily. So just reiterating, it's very important to make sure you keep the sidewalk free and clear.
Understood.
And the street as well, because I see a car that I believe it belongs to your facility, parking actually on the rightmost lane. I can share my screen and show it to you. It sounds like it's not just the sidewalk, it's the sidewalk and the first lane next to it.
Yes. Again, we're not the operator of the site. However, I understand the importance of this, so we're going to
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah,
We're
there's,
going to reiterate to the tenant that they need to keep the sidewalk clear.
so, you have some work to do and feel free to talk to Ms. Fullader. You can reach out to our general counsel, our executive director for direction on how to go about addressing some of these comments that's been raised. And, this project has been operating since 1994 without any permit. So this project has benefited for being in operation without any actually BSA oversight, if you want to call it, and we need to correct it. And I'm glad you're cooperating with the board and being responsive about wanting to address the issue, but we still have some ways to go.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to the public.
Okay,
Thank you.
the case we're currently discussing is 2021-85 BZ, 2310 Atlantic Avenue, Brooklyn. Should you wish to discuss, you want to pull that screen in? Hold on, let me pull that screen in. Sorry. Please dial 646-558-8656 or our toll-free number, which is 888-475-4499. At the prompt, you will enter the webinar ID number 890-9443-1895 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, you will press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute if you're calling in on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already and wish to participate, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you are recognized, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
I don't see anybody's hands raised.
Time is not up yet.
No, I
Oh,
don't see
sorry.
anybody's hands raised. That's all I'm saying.
This plan is moving. Sorry.
Okay,
See hands.
all right. I think you need some time to look through all of this. So what are your,
Since he said the 3 to 4 month thing, I'm sure you want to check into, but is 3 months an appropriate ask?
I think so. By that time, you should be able to look into the continuous use and respond to the need for your operational changes, if you have any. And also the plan, if it needs to be revised. And by the time you would also be able to give us some update on the status of the spray booth.
Correct.
Yeah. Oops, are you okay? All right. Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Sorry.
Bless you. Okay, so let's put in 4 months, so sometime in January. Yeah,
4 months.
Okay, sounds good.
and if there has been movements that's making the project go faster in terms of spray booth and your review of other things, let us know. If you, we can try to, if the calendar allows it, we'll try to put it sooner, but right now I think January is a safer bet.
I think that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all for attending. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next item is 2023-08BZ, 68 South First Street, Brooklyn. This is Mayan Batan and Esther Judelson. Excuse my pronunciation, Irina.
Yes, I see her hands raised. Anyone else?
Good afternoon, good morning, Ms. Batan.
Good morning.
Is Judelson part of your team?
Yes.
Okay. And
Anyone
now-
else?
And then
Jorge.
George.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? I have Montag.
I think that was for the prior application.
No,
Everyone else-
Montag was for before.
And Cox.
No.
Okay, everybody's disappearing. And Delgado. Del
And
Jorge.
Greg.
Greg.
Is he part of your team?
Yes, he's part of our team.
Okay.
Okay.
Let him in.
And what
Marion
about Cox?
No.
Might be a member of the public person.
Okay. All right. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, ready? Oh, he's not in yet. Okay. Everyone, raise their hands. Mr. George is not in.
Hopefully we don't have to speak. So if he does have to speak, we will maybe swear him in later.
Do you want to start with Adam, Madam Chair? Okay. All right. So raise your right hands. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name. Please state your name for the record and proceed to respond to the board's comments.
Good morning, Fan Baton from Sheldon Lobel PC for the applicant. We attended this morning review session and we understand that the board is satisfied with the application. So we ask that the application is closed and we are scheduled for a decision.
Yes, let's go. I don't think the commissioners, you have any additional questions? Okay, great. Let's go to the public. Okay.
Hold on. No, I got it. Got the code. It's the code. Sometimes it starts. Okay, the case we're currently discussing is 2023-08BZ, 68 South First Street, Brooklyn. Should you wish to discuss, dial 646-558-8656 or our toll-free number 888-475-4499. At the prompt, you will enter the webinar ID number 890-9443-1895 and the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will only press the pound sign. Once you're permitted in, you will press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute to speak on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already and wish to participate, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you are recognized, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss. She raised her hand?
No. Did anybody?
No, not
I
yet.
don't see.
Ms. Cox is that
I believe it's a.
Marlon,
Yeah.
sorry, Marlon Cox. If you are here for this case, do you wish to speak on it? It's 68 South First Street. Please raise your hand. If not, and if there was a case that you missed, you can reach out to the project manager.
Please note, this is our last scheduled case
Case.
for today.
And what about Greg Del George?
He's part of the team.
Greg is part of the applicant team.
I see, okay.
Thank you.
You don't see anybody's hands being
Mm-mm.
raised?
No telephones, no phone, so forth. It's 7 seconds.
All right, nobody called in. So I'm going to make a motion to close. No submission is required.
No submission. A motion to close, Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Vice Chair Shabeta,
All right.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Shetta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Okay, this is on.
We'll let you know when this is scheduled for decision. It would be most likely November. We have a pretty busy October schedule, but I need to consult with my team here if we can do it in October. If not, it'll be November.
Okay, anything else?
Thank
Okay,
you,
this
everyone.
Concludes the
Thank you.
public hearing for October 3rd, 2023. Thank you, everyone, for your participation.
Thank you all. Have a good day.